What's going on, guys? This is Sean Item, and this is another episode of Fatherhood Friday. Fatherhood Friday is a segment we do every single Friday where we educate, encourage, and empower fathers. I'm a father myself. I have two baby girls by the name of Zendaya and Nova, and they are the inspiration behind this show. So welcome to Fatherhood Friday, where we celebrate fatherhood.
Daddy?
What's going on, everybody? This is another episode of Fatherhood Friday, and I have none other than my guest, Sidney Walker. This is my partner. This is my high school. Sidney, what's up, man?
What's up, man? What's going on, man? It's good. I'm glad to be a part of this, man. What's good?
I'm good, man. You know, this is a guy that's really killing it in the business world, killing it in his career, and also holding it down as being an exceptional father. So it's definitely a pleasure to have you on as a guest, man. I know you. We grew up together, but could you briefly just intro and give my guest, tell them a little bit about yourself?
Man, my name's Sidney Walker, man. A lot of people know me as Big Sid. Born and raised in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Just one of those guys that was passionate about, as growing up, I seen entrepreneurs, man. I was already cutting yards and things like that and stuff that taught me early on to go get your own and being able to provide for your family and stuff and not dependent on one income. And so, me and Sean grew up. Of course, we went to high school together. He knew a lot of my aspirations in life and the goals that I wanted to go after. And he's seen me actually climb those goals. Same with me seeing him do his thing too as well and stuff, man. And so we both went to the military. We were like a week apart from each other during the military time. Myself, I did 9.5 years in the Air Force. My background was in medical field, but at that same time of me being in the military, I went ahead and still kept pursuing my other goals in life and in the music industry and in the entertainment industry, man. Those goals at one time actually met each other, and I had to make a decision between staying in the military or did I want to pursue my beliefs, my life goals that I wanted to reach and stuff. And, it was a hard decision at that time, but, made that decision. And, I never looked back after that. I was able to get out. I went to school with I used the military for my schooling that I pursued after that. Went and got a degree in the entertainment business and got a master's in entrepreneurship and innovation. And just kept pursuing those, man. Owned the clothing store at one time. Me and my lady, we own a rental business, rental venue business that just made 5 years this past week, that we're celebrating. We had some other ventures too that we still do on the side too as well. We own a catering company as well. I mean, it's just something that I've kept pursuing and stuff, and I'm still active in the entertainment industry, man. I got a few other things that I'm working on that we'll get to coming up in this interview.
Okay, dope, man, dope. So basically, you were in the military for 9 years. What was that like, man? What's that experience like? What are some of the biggest lessons you learned? Let's just talk about it.
Man, I guess whenever we first go in, with myself and as well as, and your pops too, they both had military backgrounds. My dad was in the Army. And so, we were not pushed into it, but we were kind of told that, hey, that would be the best decision that you would make in your life.
Right.
So we went after that. But you know what? Once we got into the military, we had to really learn what are we really into and stuff, man. You really don't know what you're getting into until you actually take those steps. And so for me, man, military gave me, don't get me wrong, my pops gave me a lot of discipline. Like before I was in the military, looking at others, I was like, man, them boys is not disciplined. They didn't have a pops like me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for us, we were disciplined. So, when it went to the next level of discipline, we were already kind of there and stuff, man.
Yeah,
I was already buttered up. You know what I mean? So, one of the things that I really enjoyed about the military is just the camaraderie. the life skills and stuff, being able to learn about different people and their backgrounds and everything like that, because that's one thing that I really enjoy, was being around others and just learning about them as well and stuff, because, you know, when you grow up, you kind of only know your culture, your background. That's all you're really taught about and stuff. But man, when we got into the military, we met Asians, we met Puerto Ricans, we met Mexicans, you know what I'm saying? It was all types of races that were involved in the military. And so you just start learning about different people and where they come from, their stories, their backgrounds. And it just shows you that, man, everybody has a story. Everybody has something going on in life. It's not just about you and stuff. And so, you know, those are the things, man, you know, when I look back, there's some things that I really miss about the military. And that's probably one of the biggest ones, man.
Yeah. Dope, dope. So you were doing 9 years in the military. You said it came to a point where you kind of had to choose. You had two options. You got the military, but you're also doing this side hustle, or, you know, building a business on the side. And you had to make a decision. What went into making that decision? Why did you decide to go the business route as opposed to just doing, you know, another 11 years and you could have been in the military getting a retirement, you know, check for the rest of your life?
You know, I mean, at the time, I really didn't think that. I knew that I was going to have to get out at some point, because I was just that motivated about the industry that I wanted to be in and stuff. So at the time, you know, getting up there, you know, let me give a little bit more on the background. So I started this event in San Angelo, was a Big Sid birthday bash. At the time, I was doing music, I was recording, I was already working with artists in Texas. I was just trying to figure out how to expand my brand. And at the time, you're doing it as just in passion. There wasn't no money really involved and stuff that I was really making. It was all passion driven. And so when I did my first concert, I was in the military at the time. People were actually in the city didn't really know who I was. But when I actually tried to expand my brand, man, it just started growing and growing. And people didn't know that I was actually in the military on the other side of it. They thought I was just some rapper cat that was in West Texas and stuff. And so, you know, the first few times when I was doing those bashes and stuff, I really didn't understand what was going on, you know. But by the time I got to the third bash or my fourth bash, man, is when I actually seen it. Opened up my eyes. We were selling out the venues and stuff that we were doing. We were bringing artists that people hadn't seen. You know, the phone calls was ringing and stuff. And then one of the ladies was telling me that I needed to change. I couldn't do it at her venue no more because it was too big for it. And, you know, so as they kept growing at the time, I really didn't, how can I put this? I really didn't grasp that, hey, this could really become something, you know, at the time. I really didn't grasp it until a few years later down the line and stuff. But when it actually met, when 9.5 years met, man, I had already done a lot of different things in the industry. I had already been on MTV Jams. We had already had some good looks. I had already been signed to a label at the time, different things, you know, and I was still in the military. So
you was on 106 in Park too, right?
Man, the 106 in Park stuff, you know.
There you go.
Jams, you know, I did, you know, I had 2 videos at the time. And so looking at a guy that's, man, still in the military, and even the military was looking at it and like, you know, hey, this guy's doing stuff on the side and it's kind of getting bigger than what he's in the position of right now. That was one of the downfalls with it, was because it was starting to bother some people that technically didn't want to see, didn't believe that you should have other jobs. And it's weird that people really feel that way. Some people feel that you should just do an 8 to 5 and then you go home and then that's it, you know. But I was never wired that way, you know. Even when I was growing up in Lake Charles, man, we'd go to school, and then after school, man, we'd do our homework, and then after the homework, if there's still some sun outside, we was going home. We was going cut yards, and we was cutting 2 or 3 until nighttime, and then nighttime we'd do it all over again the next day and stuff. So I was always wired that way. It was never something that changed. And so, you know, again, when going back to the military, when I had to make that decision, it just came down to a personal decision of what personal goals I wanted to reach in life. And it was tough at the time, you know, trying to figure that out. But, you know, at that point, I felt I became a man. I had to become a man. I had to let go of that hand that was being held on to and stuff. And I wanted to see what Sidney Walker could do. And once I got out, man, I went to school. I remember I'd moved to Houston. I went to Houston and I stayed with my cousin for a little while. And I was just like, man, what am I going to do? now that I'm out. Because once you out, you out.
You out.
It wasn't no turning back around. So my cousin was like, maybe you should go to school. And so when she said the school thing, it never really clicked on me, because when I graduated high school, I didn't plan on trying to go back to school. It wasn't no part of me that was saying, hey, let's go to school and learn something. But there was always one school for me that stood out that as a kid, that I always wanted to go to, and that was Full Sail University. So when I told my cousin, I said, you know what, if I do go to school, I want to go for something that I really enjoy. I don't want to go to regular school and have to do math and just all these other little things. I want to learn about my industry and everything. So I went after entertainment business. Took my classes. I was actually doing half and half. So I was going to do half online, and then I was going to do the other half on the campus. Well, at that time, I had already opened up a clothing store called Undefeated. So once you open up a store, and that was my first time really jumping into having something of my own and entrepreneurship. I'd always done the music thing. You can be mobile with music and move around. But once you have a brick and mortar where you have to be at it, and you need somebody to staff it and man it, because the bill's gonna come no matter what. Every month they always gonna show up, no matter if you're there or not.
Right.
So I ended up having to stop going to school, not to stop going to school, actually canceling out going to the campus and just doing everything online. And so I remember actually working in the store and doing my classwork at the same time. So a lot of my class projects involved me in the entrepreneurship and stuff. And so that was my first taste of it. And I had to basically learn how to run a clothing store on my own. And I had no clue, how to really do all that. But I knew the reason why I opened up my store is because I needed a platform to sell my tickets at. But I also knew, hey, you might as well sell clothes. You might as well sell music and stuff too as well. Now, I came on at the end of the entertainment industry to where CDs were going down. People streaming was starting to rise and stuff. So I came at the tail end of it and stuff. And even with clothing, a lot of us people buy clothes now just online. They don't go to the brick and mortar and try clothes out and do all that. So, that was my first business attempt. And, it had its ups and downs and stuff. And so I had to make a few moves, a few changes and stuff on that. But we ended up actually owning a rental venue too as well, which just made 5 years. And that was really where I kind of like started to, I'm not going to say it helped mold me into the entrepreneurship and learning other things, but it taught me that, hey, you need to really start taking this business stuff serious if you really want to do it and stuff. Because a lot of times when you talk entrepreneurship, people think, man, this is an easy game. I can set my own hours and do all this. But what they fail to realize is the entrepreneurship side of things, you have to be very disciplined. You have to be able to get up early. You're the first one up in the morning trying to get stuff prepped. You're the last one to go to sleep. You're constantly studying yourself, studying the way you operate and stuff, man. And, we all have our little business failures and stuff like that. But, I had to learn at an early point, that, hey, this is no game right here, man. It's actually easier to go work for somebody, than to actually be your own boss and stuff.
Correct.
It's easier to go and just wake up and say, hey, I got an easy job. I got a job to do, and just go and do your 8 to 5. But, I was blessed to be able to learn from my mistakes, man, and just keep pushing and stuff, man.
That's dope. So let me ask you, Sid. So we got a lot of people that are very interested in the music industry. A lot of viewers, a lot of our audience. What's one thing that the average person may not know, may it be good or bad, about the music industry?
Man, I think it's probably cliche to say it, but man, it's 90% business, 10% talent. 90% business, relationships. Man, the industry thrives off of relationships, who you know, and how you handle your business. The art form of stuff, you can find art in anybody, man. And I remember my pops telling me early on, when we used to watch sports and stuff, that the best basketball players actually never made it to the NBA. You know what I mean? Because there's such, man, we grew up with some guys that were just great at basketball.
Remember Pat?
Yeah, Pat Duncan, bro. Pat Duncan was great.
Pat should have been. Pat should have been in somebody league
and stuff. I was like in middle school, I believe. I watched Pat Duncan dunk, and I was like, "Whoa! Like this kid can dunk." And I'm like, but the thing is, it's the discipline. Can you be disciplined? Can you understand the business? You know what I'm saying? There's just so much other things that are involved. And that's what I see in the entertainment industry, man. I know a lot of guys that I would want to work with and do work with and put on my team, but they don't understand that this is actually a business, man. You have to really study this game. You really have to focus on it. You have to put your all into it, your passion. You know what I mean? You can't just, think that it's just going to come to you. You got to go to it yourself. So, that's one of the things that I try to tell people, like where I got to took long years of me learning and studying the industry, watching others and how they moved and what mistakes they made and just little things like that, man. And even falling myself, man, fall 7 times, get up 8, you got to be able to, there's so many, you fail so much in the game that you fail your way into success. And that's how I feel I did. I failed my way into success because I made so many mistakes that, hey man, you gonna make another mistake, you actually gonna be right on point after this one. So it kind of worked out for me, man.
There you go. So it's 90% business, 10% about the art form. I think that's a really, really great point that you make there. All right, Sid. So this is Fatherhood Friday, man. So we would definitely like to transition into the fatherhood part, man, right? You have a daughter, man. Let everybody know what baby girl name is.
Man, my baby girl, her name's Sidney Walker, man. And it's crazy that, that I have a daughter, man, because she's actually before New Year's Eve is her birthday. And to be totally honest with you, I opened up one of my businesses on the same day she was born. My biggest club venture that I did, I opened it up when she was actually being born and stuff, man. And that's just a story in itself because, you got your ladies in the hospital pregnant, having your baby, and then the next day you getting keys to this 2-story venue that you're going to do club events at. And it's my first time opening up a club. You know what I mean? And so trying to raise a family and then also trying to raise a club, which had a staff of probably 14, 15 people. And on top of that, I still had my real job, which I was over as an events manager for the city too as well. Man, it just became boy, it was a struggle in life, bro. It was one of those struggles that I dealt with,
So you basically, you had 2 babies at one time.
Man, I had 2 babies.
You had twins.
2 babies. I was going house to house. You know what I'm saying? Like, it never stopped, man. It never stopped. But, I was blessed on both ends, man, to be able to raise my daughter and stuff too as well. But also have my venue too. But, I did have to make that decision of, stopping the venue or closing down my venue because I wanted to be more of a father to my daughter and stuff, man. And it just started more of a job than what I passionately wanted to do.
Awesome. Let's slow down. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. How old is baby girl? She's about to be 4, correct?
4. She's about to be 4, man. New Year's Eve.
Talking, walking, all over the place.
Talking, walking, doing flips, back flips, cartwheels, handstands, you name it. She doing it all, man. She let me know. What's crazy is though she sees me going to work and do things, man, and just to hear my daughter be like, "Daddy, you going to work?" You know what I mean? Or to hear her say, "Hey, Daddy, stay home. Just stay on the couch and play." You know what I'm saying? So, man, those things like those words really affect you at times because we as entrepreneurs can become selfish with our time. You know what I mean? And so for me, it was hard for me to get out of that mode of that selfishness and say, you know what, I want to make sure that she has a great life because there was times in my life that I didn't feel like, it was much more family oriented and stuff. And I thought it was too much about other things, business and all this other thing. And so for myself, I wanted to be able to, my daughter, I want her to make sure she knows, hey, my father works hard, but he also made sure that we're taken care of too, as well as a family and stuff.
I love it, Sid. So with that, what are some lifestyle changes you've had to make as a father? So I mean, I think you kind of spoke on that just a minute ago. But like, what's the biggest thing that you feel like, that you've had to like make an adjustment? Maybe a dream that you kind of had to put on the back seat, or just like you can't be in the club all night, promoting and doing whatever you need to do. What are some of those lifestyle changes that you've had to do?
The art of balancing.
Yeah,
I had to learn how to balance everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From my real job, from the business side of things, plus giving the time to my family that they need and stuff too as well, man. And for myself, man, I'm still actually challenged by that at times, because there's times when I'm just like, man, I really got to get this done. But then I look at my daughter and I see what, you know what I'm saying? We need to have our time and stuff, because man, if you don't teach your daughter or your family, the internet will. You know what I mean? Social media will, or whatever it is. And so, when I started seeing my daughter learn so much quickly from an iPad, it was like, man, I can't have my daughter being raised by the iPad. Now I'm grateful because she knows her alphabet. She knows all types of things. You know what I'm saying? Especially positive and stuff. But I can't allow the internet to teach my daughter, because there's other things out there that you just don't want them to see or be involved in with so early on in life and stuff. So for myself, I had to learn the art of balancing and being able to be in her life, not only as just a provider, but just as, anything else that she needs to balance out herself and stuff too as well. So, and that's not just for my daughter, that's for Ashley, my other half, you know what I mean? And my two step boys too as well, because I got a one step son that's 14, and then I got one that's 12. One started high school, the other one started middle school. And again, those are big challenges, man, when you jumping into middle school and when you jumping into high school, you know what I'm saying? So, they had other things that they wanted to do. So now I had to really stop being selfish with myself and my time, and just being able to be, give them this entrepreneurship as a father. You know what I'm saying? My time as entrepreneurship, I had to give it inside of that fatherly lane, because again, and bringing up kids too as well, man, bringing up two stepsons. I didn't want them to feel what they felt with their father and stuff too as well. I wanted to make sure that they got somebody in their life. I didn't want to just be stepdad. I wanted to be, hey, he took care of me. You know what I'm saying? He made sure I was taken care of, clothed, fed, disciplined. You know what I'm saying? He listened to me, all those other things and stuff, because, these kids these days need that. They need this type of love. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. They need that hard love. They need they need to see that from that parent and stuff. Granted, I could be one of those step parents that really didn't care, you know what I'm saying? Because they're not blood related to me. But at the end of the day, I try to tell them, like, and they look up to me. But besides that, they think I'm the old man. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm the old man. You know what I'm
Not the old man. Ain't even 40, you know
what I'm saying? Man. Yeah. So, and again, that was more of the challenge. But to tie that in, they also see those side of me that teaches them to go do something on your own. Find something that you really want to do in life and pursue that with all that you got and stuff, man. And that's one thing that I try to teach them, is we have our rental venue, and, to be honest with you, they are the only employees that I really keep on a full time. We go in there, we set it up, we work it, Ashley works it, we clean it up all together and stuff too as well. And I'm hoping that this stuff early on teaches them to be able to go after, pursue some type of entrepreneurship for themselves, whether it's cutting hair, whether it's, being a DJ, whatever it is, just different things on different levels for them. And, as a kid, we probably don't realize that, as a child, when I was cutting yards, I didn't realize how much entrepreneurship or how powerful it was for me to be able to have money in my own pocket that I work for, you know what I'm saying, that we made as a family. It's a different dollar when it's raised in your family, bro. It's a
Yeah.
different type of dollar. That dollar go a little bit longer and stuff compared
I
to
like that.
when you work for somebody else. That dollar's so small. You know what I'm saying? That dollar going to some bills and stuff. But you know,
Yeah.
that dollar that I have, you know, with our family, we all work for that dollar. That's everything that come in. That's us. You know what I mean? That's us. So I really try to teach them that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. So as far as the business, man, do you have aspirations that the kids would eventually take over the business? Is it like a legacy business? Like how do you see it? What is the legacy plan as far as many of the entrepreneurial things that you are trying to do right now? How does it fit into the whole scope of, you know, given it like with me, for instance, one of my biggest whys is that my children don't have to start where I had to start. And I'm not saying I started from a bad position, you know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
having to go to the military, having to, you know, go to interviews and, you know, sit across from tables of people that don't look like me, don't understand, you know, the culture, don't understand many of the situations that I may or may have not had to go through. I didn't want that for my daughters. I don't want that for my daughters. So I don't just look at the business as a thing that we're earning $1 today, but hopefully we establish them. And, you know, I'm going to work 80 hours a week and do what I have to do, but I want to get it up and running to a level to where they come in that they can do a 40-hour work week. And it's just like any other job that, you know, their dad has laid a foundation to where they can be successful.
Yeah.
And, you know, if they choose to do it, they're cool. If they don't, they don't. But, you know, that is one of the biggest reasons why I'm working. It's a legacy business for me. And, you know, it's about our last name, not so much about our first name. Right. So
Yeah.
I try to ask, you know, fellow entrepreneurs such as yourself, like, what do you see the children and the next generation playing into many of the things that you guys are doing today? How can they carry the torch? Do you even care about them carrying the torch? What does that look like for you, man?
Man, it's crazy because my oldest stepson, man, he's 14. To be honest with you, he really wants to go to the military. You know, he's
Yeah.
honestly wanting to go to the military. You know, and I asked him why, and of course he wants to travel and do those things. It's funny because when he does come to work at the venue, he's kind of curious about things, but I don't think it's hit him yet because he's still, like I said, he's still 14. He still tells me at times he wants to go get another job or he wants to go work for like a Chick-fil-A or something like that. And I'm like, you know, I'm all for it, to be totally honest with you, because I want you to be able to work in somebody else's facility and then you get instructions from them and let's see how you like it. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, for myself, of course, it's a corporation. You know, if they want to be involved in it and stuff, I'm definitely trying to build that legacy to where they can keep building and making big, you know, the corporation can get passed down to them and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But I also am not one that wants to force my dreams and my goals onto somebody else, because I am a firm believer that everybody cannot do entrepreneurship and everybody is not made to be a boss or to be in that position and stuff. So, you know, if they follow it and they see that, hey, my step pops was doing all this stuff and, you know, I really want to pursue and do what he did because he lived such a great, you know, he brought us up and we lived such a great life or whatever. I'm cool with that. But I'm also cool with if they just want to go and do the regular life and go to college and go to school and pursue those dreams, because again, everybody isn't built, you know, for that entrepreneurship. And I just think that we looked at our parents a different way and stuff, and our parents instilled a certain trait in us to make us be go-getters. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I love using the word go-getters. Our parents made us some go-getters. They made us, whenever we got out the house, we were ready to go get it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We weren't built to go work for somebody else for 20 years and then call it a retirement and say that's it. You know what I mean? I was built to be able to stand on my own feet and make those decisions and pursue those. And if, like I said, if my children can follow that and they want to do that, I'm going to be there to help them succeed in that life. You know, now granted, I don't want to see, you know, I don't want to put it on my kids too, as well as they got a free ride too as well. Granted, I do want to make the road a lot smoother for them, but I don't believe in giving the free ride to anybody because, you know, in life, I think you have to be molded. You know what I mean? I think it's some molding that has to come with it too. And I'm hoping that, you know, they can see that and they can build and figure out what they really want to do in life. And if they want to follow with their pops and see and everything that I did, then I'm here. You know, I definitely want to see that. But if they don't, I'm also cool with that too, boss.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So how has fatherhood changed, like some of the events, some of the shows that you currently do, or has it changed at
Man,
all? Are there things that you just like, I probably can't have
yeah. Yeah.
this type of show, this type of, like, how has that changed? And let's talk about it a little bit.
You know, looking at it and stuff, man, when I first got my rental venue, our goal was to actually have parties and events and do club nights and all that other stuff. It wasn't about renting it out to others for private events, for weddings, birthday parties, you know, reunions, all those things. But now when my daughter was born and stuff, and then we let go of the club, that just took over me. And it was just like, you know what? I don't want to do the club thing no more. I to be totally honest, I was never a club guy, and people, you know, fail to really see that. I honestly, I don't even drink. You know, I have a liquor license. I'm able to serve across Texas. However, you know, I have my own license, but I wasn't even a drinker. I'd never been a drinker. I never was that social person that wanted to go out and, hey, man, let's go have a drink or two. I was always, that's just how I was raised. That's just how I was born. And, you know, as time progressed and stuff, man, you know, I didn't want to be in the club doing club events, worried about what other people are doing inside my venue, man. And the more and more as I grew, I wanted to be home with my family. I wanted to be home with my daughter. I wanted to be there at night. And so, you know, to be honest with you, I'm the one that actually stay home at night these days with the kids. And my lady go and work the club, work the venue for several events, and work the bar and do the caterings and all those other things and stuff, because I just don't attract to that life anymore, you know, and I just don't want to be on that type of scene, man. I love being with my family. You know, I just don't like being in the club no more, man. I just grew out of it, you know, and you know, and when we did it for, like, you know, and what I've done in the entertainment industry and did parties and all types of events, I did it for so long that I know that I got it out my system. There's nothing that I can possibly do that would ever say, man, now this is the best thing you ever did. Now, I did all that stuff when I was from 21 to 28, 29, 30. I did all that fun. You know what I mean? After that, once I had my daughter, it got to a different point to where I didn't even have fun with people in the club no more, because it was so serious for me that I wanted to make it home to see my daughter that night. You know what I mean? Or I wanted to be with my family at night. I don't want to be up here with worrying about other problems or incidents happening at my venue and stuff like that. I didn't want to be in that limelight no more. And so, you know, being able to be home and be with my family is man, it's just one of those feelings. I love it. I love every part of that.
Dope, bro. Dope. So, Sidney, I appreciate your time, man. Before we get off of this thing, man, first, what are some projects going on? What are some projects you got going on, like my viewers to know about it, and any way that they can support that? You know, what are you doing, man? What's next? What are you currently working on?
In 2020, I'm executive producing a film project, man. My first film project that I'm actually executive producing is actually going to be a pretty big film, man. We in talks with some major companies and stuff, man. I wish I could give more details, but the trailer and the press release and all that stuff doesn't come out until about another 2 weeks and stuff. So I'm kind of like NDA right now. They non-disclosure. I can't even talk much about it, but it's one of those big projects that I was blessed to be able to have fall in my lap. And, you know, it just shows me that God works in mysterious ways. Like, you know, once I gave up the entertainment side of things and doing the club life and parties and all that, he put me into another position that still keeps me leveled in the entertainment industry, but it's on a different level and stuff. And I'm just excited about that project whenever it does drop. And, you know, I'm gonna keep pursuing these goals and again raising my family and you know, mentoring, man. That's another thing that I'm really trying to get more involved in 2020, man. I'm really trying to get big on my mentorship and really giving free game to some of these cats, man, and people that really want to get into it. I'm trying to provide as much as I can.
Dope, dope. All right, Sidney. So we're wrapping this thing up, man. The second thing I wanted to make sure that we got out there before you get off here. Where can people find you on social media, man?
Man, they can find me under Sid Angelo, SIDANGELO. You can follow me there on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Like I said, Sid Angelo, man, and SIDANGELO. And you know, I'm all for anybody that just wants to, you know, trying to learn about entrepreneurship, positivity, and stuff. Man, I got my winter regret that we're pushing right now. It's more motivational. It's just telling people, man, you know, it's either you're gonna win or you're gonna regret the decisions that you could have or you should have made in life and stuff, man. And it's not telling you that, you know, taking a loss is a regret. You know what I mean? Losses come all the way with the bosses, you know. So
yep.
You got to learn how to just, you know, maintain them losses, learn from them L's that you take, and just make sure you know, don't take those same steps that you did whenever you took that L. So, you know, winter regret is a really
awesome,
big.
man. Sid, I appreciate your time, man.
Live, man. Well, I appreciate you putting me on, man.
I appreciate you, man, and we'll get this thing chopped up and what they say, chopped up, not slopped up. What y'all say down there in Texas?
Yeah, you're a fool, man. Well, I appreciate it,
you, man.
You know, before we get off of here, man, I'm proud of you because, you know, at the end of the day, you be motivating me to really step up and take it to another level and stuff like that, man. Because honestly, we know each other's backgrounds and stuff, man. And for me to see what you've done in the game is really motivating me to be stepping up and doing bigger things, bigger and better things for you, for where we come from and stuff, man. And just knowing our background. So my boy doing some big things out there. So man, y'all my boy too as well.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, Sid, man. I'll talk to you, man.
For sure, bro.
All right, brother.
Yeah.